Alex here with a high conflict child custody video on distance. The specific focus of this video is going to be on the impact distance has on a high conflict child custody case. And of course, with all the videos on this channel, this has to do with my personal experience. If you've watched the My Docket series, you'll understand. If you haven't watched it, you really should, because that pretty much gives you a 100% comprehensive picture of exactly what I went through, because it includes every single filing and every single hearing video. Anyway, once I was able to relocate and create distance between myself and my ex, it did greatly diminish the amount of conflict. There was still conflict. It was still insane, but it was much less conflict, even though it was still in the realm of insanity. There is two things that I want to point out, though, that I don't think people are going to like, but it's the truth. The first is that if you try and tell a judge that you need to separate or move because of this, it's not going to look good. It's going to backfire probably, because there's, at least in Nevada, specific analysis the judge has to go through, and one of those points of analysis is that it's sought as a way to frustrate the other person's rights. So that's the first sort of thing you want to keep in mind. But there's another point that I want to make that's actually, it's definitely going to be an issue. If you are relocating and you have a high conflict child custody ex, and the court orders that the visitation schedule is going to change to be consistent, and they're going to also change custody, so they're going to maybe sever the joint physical custody relationship, and they're going to give a vacation schedule to the non-custodial parent. If that happens in a high conflict child custody case, and that is the only basis for the modification of custody, I would go so far as to say that I guarantee the person will follow you. They'll follow you to the new state, and then they'll either circumvent the order of the court by doing that, or they'll just file a motion to modify and say, hey, my ex was given all of these rights because of the relocation. Well, I'm here now. I moved to follow. And so since I'm here, I'd like everything to go back to the way it was. That's not just a probably. That's a for sure. And that just goes into the obsessiveness of the high conflict child custody person, and also, or the high conflict parent, and also the fact that for them it's an existential threat. To reduce the conflict is to reduce their existence. It's to reduce who they feel, their identity. It's erasing them, not in the sense that most people use the word, like they use it in the sense of erasing a parent in custody. It's erasing them from existence. It's like they won't matter anymore, and they will be gone from the universe to them. So the impulse to follow you will be very high. Now, people are going to say, hold on a second, you said that this worked really well in your case, why didn't it happen to you? The reason why is because I modified custody using two bases. The first was the relocation, but the second was the dental neglect. So the order of the court in my case was that she was going to have much less time with our son, specifically because of the neglect. The relocation was just an extra thing the judge threw in there. And so if my ex would have followed me all the way to Vegas, she still would have been stuck with that kind of custodial schedule. And I think that was one of the reasons why she felt that she had to just move on, because she couldn't just, I'm going to just get around this by following him. She was still stuck. She still had only visitation. So to her, that was just an unacceptable solution. Moving to Vegas wouldn't have solved the problem of her having to deal with findings of neglect and a non-custodial situation. So that's the only thing that I would tell people is it is true that the distance helps a lot, an absolute lot, and that most likely that's not going to really help you relocate, because if you do relocate for other reasons like your job or something, they'll just follow you. And if you have other reasons like abuse or neglect, then you're going to actually have to prove the abuse and neglect. You're not going to be able to just say, hey, let's move apart. Let us move so that we can deal with this abuse and neglect. The court's going to say, what is the abuse? What is the neglect? And prove it. So you're still going to have to do all those things. one more thing I guess that I'll mention is, even with relocating, my ex still did some nutty things. You'll learn about those if you watch my docket series, but be prepared for them trying to come out every weekend or every other weekend, flying, driving, all that stuff. She tried to make that an expense I would bear. The stuff is just like out of this world. So, and then there was the hotel stays. All of this comes up in my docket series. So she was trying to come like every week or every 2 weeks and get reimbursement for the trip, just to like inflict massive financial pain on me for doing this. And then the other was, she was trying to get reimbursement for hotels, and she would go to like the most expensive night. Like there was, this comes up in a hearing, guys. If you want to watch in my docket series, you'll see this get brought up. She says something like, the judge is like, why did it cost you $500? And my ex is like, it was fight night in Vegas. And the judge was just so livid. She was like, well, find a time to go when it's not fight night. But what the judge obviously didn't understand is that was the point. So the Judge Rob thinks she's dealing with just a parent who doesn't know what she's doing. She knows exactly what she's doing. She did it on purpose. Your Honor, the $500 fight night was the point. That's why that night was picked. Come on. So, get a clue. The only other thing I can say is expect that stuff to happen, guys. And I think I had it dealt with in court orders that limited the reimbursements, and then of course the judge telling her to knock off the hotel expenses. But that's all the stuff is, you're gonna have to deal with it. It really comes down to the cycle of revenge, and I talk about that in the video. I was gonna say end of filings is not end of abuse, but that's not it. There's another video that I don't remember all the titles now. There's another video that talks about how you'll win, and then they'll want to get revenge on you, and they'll do a bunch of other things that are horrible. And you'll end up filing another motion to deal with the new horrible things they're doing. You'll win again, and then they'll just get worse and do it. It's a cycle. Like each time you win, they get nuttier. So when you file more motions, you win more. They get even nuttier, and it's like, I wish I could remember the title of it, guys. You should just watch all the videos because they're all good. If you have any questions, feel free to post them down in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time.